This is the MGTOW Infinium here with another Infinium out and about. This Infinium out and about is entitled The Specter of Indoctrination. Now, my MGTOW brothers, I am sitting outside a Walmart supercenter. Just got off my shift at work, and it's a little before 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning. And this Walmart, formerly, formerly used to be open 24/7, but when the virus thing hit, they started cutting back the hours, so they only, I think, open from 7 to 12. So I'm just waiting for the Walmart to open up here so I can get in there and get something that I need. But my brothers, I wanted to talk to you about the specter of indoctrination. And a few days ago, I was listening to Mr. Elite and some of his content, and he was talking about the passing of MGTOW Exposed. And if, my brothers, you're not familiar with MGTOW Exposed, he was a kind of a counter agent to the MGTOW philosophy. He would basically try to tear down the philosophy, the tenets of it, everything about it, the foundations of it, everything about the MGTOW philosophy, the freeing power of it. MGTOW Exposed would try to tear that down. And Mr. Elite was just talking in general about why we as men would allow these things. Why would we be subject to, I guess, feminism, to all the things that happen to us in life in terms of our relationships with women, all these things that we go through. And why would we rather subject ourselves and fight against those who see the power and the freeing nature of the MGTOW philosophy? Why would we do that? Why would we, when it is so clear that being free as a man, being free from the feminist plantation state is beyond scope. It's something that we can't even fathom in terms of our freedom. Why would we be subject to divorce rate? Why would we be subject to being beat down every day and being told that we're not enough? Why would we do these things? And he was just talking in general. But my brothers, I thought about that. I thought about how this can happen, and the only thing I can think of is indoctrination and the power of the indoctrination we as men are subject to, even as young boys, even as young men, we are subject to and we grow up under. And I'll give you this example. My father and I have related that my father considered me a great failure. And I'm a failure because I chose not to marry. I chose not to produce offspring. And mainly because my eyes were opened to what women are doing and what women were doing to me, and how I did not want to waste my time or waste my life being divorced, raped, having my possessions taken away from me, having somebody that didn't really appreciate me being beat down. I'd rather be alone. So, but in my father's eyes, I am a failure because not only did I did not get married, I also did not produce offspring, mainly boys. I did not have a lot of children, grandchildren. I did not have that type of thing that he wanted. But here's the deal, my brothers. My father's marriage was not a happy marriage. It was very tumultuous. And I'll put it this way, he had an in-house divorce. And what I mean by that is that he was divorced from his wife, but still living with her. They were still married, but for about 30 years, she was in one room and he was in another. So here it is, my father is telling me to go out and get married when his own marriage is a shambles, and daily arguments, daily combativeness for 30 years, or more than that, actually. But the events I'm not going to go into it, which caused that to happen, the divorce I'm talking about, which caused that to happen. I'm not going to go into that at this time, but for 30 years, up until his passing, he lived in one room in his house, and she lived in the other room. And it basically was a terrible marriage. So here it is, my father is telling me to go out and get married and go out and do this and do that and have these kids and do this. And I'm like, I look around at the women. I look around at what women are doing to men. I had the experiences of what happened to me with the women that I had dated and considered for marriage, and all those things. And you can go back into my videos and look into those things. But again, one was hiding a kid from me. The other one was just downright despicable. Actually, both was despicable, but I would say, again, my experiences, which I now know are the norm, were the low norm. And I've seen where people have had terrible, extremely terrible, beyond terrible. And so, like, if I'm saying mine are low norm, and I'm looking at people that have high normal bad experiences, again, why would I do that to myself? Why would I throw away my freedom and my peace? Why would I do that, my brothers? And I like Mr. Elite, I asked that same question. Why would somebody do that? For instance, on my former job, there was a woman there, and she had a very nasty attitude. She was very, very nasty, overweight, this and that, and yet somebody wanted to marry her. And I'm like, why again would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you endure something like that every day? Being shackled with something like that. Why would you do that, my brothers? And again, it brings me back to the indoctrination, the specter of indoctrination, which we as men have to deal with, and we as MGTOW men have to combat every day to keep us from going back into the slave pits of the feminist plantation state. This indoctrination, my brothers, is false. It is a lie. The lie that we are supposed to submit to what women want of us and take anything, take the BS, take anything that they throw at us, and or have a marriage like Stephen Curry, where his wife is basically stepping out on him and saying, I'm going to do this and do that, and saying, I want other men to look at me. Again, that's what indoctrination does to us. That's what the specter of indoctrination does to us, that we have to take this no matter what. We have to deal with it no matter what. We have to deal with the strong woman, the strong, quote unquote, attitude. We have to take it and suck up as men. And the MGTOW philosophy, my brothers, says otherwise. It says that no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to put up with that. No, you can be free from this. And no, it is women that have to bring something to our tables rather than us having to accept what they do, whatever attitudes they have, whatever things that they say about us. It is women who now have to bring something substantial to our tables, or they are dismissed. And see, now, because of the feminist plantation state, and because women don't bring anything to our table, they are again saying to us, we can come to the table of man with nothing. And because of that specter of indoctrination, because of the power of that specter of indoctrination, we as men have to take it. And again, my brothers, the MGTOW philosophy says no to all of that. The other thing I want to get into is not only the specter of indoctrination, it is how we as men operate in our lives. And I'll just take in a personal example of what the specter of indoctrination does, and how powerful it is in our lives. Again, in terms of we as men taking anything and everything from women. My brothers, I had a dear brother of mine, and he was not a natural brother. He was not a natural blood brother, but I would say of him, he was a brother by the Spirit. And I met him on a former job, and I'll say right away that he was very physically challenged. And he suffered greatly, but yet he worked. Yet you never saw him complaining or anything like that. He would come to work. He had to be in a wheelchair, like a motorized wheelchair. And he was very, very physically challenged. But we became friends, and subsequently we began to bond as brothers. And I'll just say this, taught me how to endure, how to daily endure things and daily go through things. He taught me a good lesson, because I never saw this brother of mine complain or say I can't take it or anything like that. He taught me how to endure. So when he passed last year, I got back to my place, or got back to my crib, and I sat in the driveway of my crib, and I just broke down and cried because I missed my brother. But yet when I told my mother about the event that had happened, how he had passed, her immediate statement to me was, "You didn't act like that when your father died." And in truthfulness, I did. but I'll get into that later. But see, again, the specter of indoctrination says that my mother, as a female, can say a harsh statement to me like that as a man and have no consequences or have no apology or be unapologetic about it. And see, that's what we're dealing with, my brothers. My father and I, we didn't have a good relationship, but this brother by the Spirit, we did, and I consider him a true brother, and he helped me, and I know that in my relationship with him, I helped him, and I can only say that there are some times in life when you develop a stronger bond with a person who is not blood family or by blood or whatever you want to say, you can develop a stronger bond with a person that's not of your blood, and that person can be closer to you than family who say that they are blood, and every time something goes wrong or you try to get away from them, you're supposed to be our blood, you're supposed to do this and do that. You can develop a stronger bond with a person that is not of your blood. And I know this to be a fact. But again, getting back to what my mother said to me, again, these are the things that we as men have to deal with every day, we as MGTOW men, because the specter of indoctrination is so strong. And that is why, again, we have things like MGTOW Exposed, where the indoctrination is working so hard in their lives that they cannot really see the freeing power of the MGTOW philosophy. They can't see the power of it. They can't see the understanding of it. They can only see that specter of indoctrination, which says that we as men must bow down no matter what. My MGTOW brothers, again, the only way that we as MGTOW men can make it in this life, in this reality, is to hold the line, to daily take those red pills, to daily embrace the MGTOW philosophy. We know in our hearts, my brothers, that the MGTOW philosophy affords us, most of all, our freedom. And it takes us on a road to freedom. And there is no thing that women can do or simps can do to say otherwise. That is the truth of the matter. And so that is why, again, we must hold the line. We must do these things to keep ourselves safe and sound and on the right direction, even though we are told constantly we are going in the wrong direction. We're selfish. We're mean. How can you be that way? How can you do this? But my brothers, how can you not afford yourself the freedom that the MGTOW philosophy gives you? I will leave you with that question, my brothers. How can you not? This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium out and about. My MGTOW brothers, as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW road, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.